The text came through while I was sitting in the pre-op waiting area, wearing a hospital gown and compression socks, and 4 already in my arm. Sweetie, we made it to Phoenix. Your brother's tournament starts in an hour. So excited. Hope your procedure goes well. It's just routine treatment, right? Love you, Mom. I stared at the message, my throat tight. Below it was a photo, my parents beaming in matching sun visors, my brother Kyle in his golf whites, all 3 standing on a pristine green with mountains in the background. They looked so happy, so carefree, so completely unbothered by the fact that I was about to have major surgery. Routine treatment. That's what they'd all called it when I told them about the operation 3 weeks ago. I was 31 years old with a large ovarian cyst that had been causing excruciating pain for months. What started as occasional discomfort had progressed to constant, debilitating pain that made it difficult to work, sleep, or function. The ultrasounds showed a complex cyst the size of a grapefruit, with characteristics that concerned my gynecologist enough to recommend immediate surgical removal and biopsy. There was a possibility, small but real, that it could be cancerous. This wasn't routine treatment. This was major abdominal surgery with general anesthesia, a hospital stay, and weeks of recovery. But my family had decided otherwise. Emma. A nurse appeared. We're almost ready for you. Is your support person here? No. They couldn't make it. The nurse's expression softened with sympathy. I'm sorry. Well, Dr. Patterson will take excellent care of you. I pulled up the family text thread from 3 weeks ago when I'd first told them about the surgery. The cyst has to come out. Surgery is scheduled for May 12th. Laparoscopic but still major. They might have to remove the whole ovary. Mom. Oh honey, that sounds scary. But you know doctors, they always make things sound worse than they are. Dad, May 12th? That's the weekend of Kyle's regional golf tournament in Phoenix. We've had this planned for months. Kyle. Sorry sis, but this tournament is really important for my amateur status. I understand, but this is pretty serious. There's a small chance it could be cancer. Mom, don't be so dramatic. You're young and healthy. It's just routine treatment. People have these procedures every day. Kyle, Emma, stop being selfish. This is my moment. You're always trying to make everything about you. That had been 3 weeks ago. Since then, they'd sent occasional texts, photos of their Phoenix hotel, updates about Kyle's practice rounds. Not one had asked about my surgery details, my concerns, or how I was feeling. What my family didn't know, what I'd deliberately kept from them for the past 6 years, was exactly what I did for a living. They knew I worked in insurance and made good money. They assumed I was some kind of claims adjuster or policy analyst. Mid-level. Forgettable. They had no idea I was Emma Richardson, Director of Medical Coverage and Claims Review for Nationwide Health Insurance, one of the largest health insurance providers in the country. That I oversaw a department of 300 people responsible for coverage decisions affecting millions of policyholders. That I personally reviewed and approved all high-value claims, including the family policy that covered my parents and brother. The same policy my father had filed a claim against 2 months ago for his essential knee surgery, a cosmetic procedure to improve his golf game that he'd managed to get coded as medically necessary. The claim I'd flagged but ultimately approved because he was my father. The same policy my brother had maxed out last year with his sports injury rehabilitation, premium physical therapy and massage treatments to improve his golf swing. Treatments I'd personally insured were covered. The same policy my mother had used for her migraine treatments. Monthly spa visits with a concierge doctor who prescribed minimal actual medicine but provided maximum pampering. I'd spent 6 years protecting my family's insurance coverage, ensuring their claims were processed smoothly. I'd used my position to make their lives easier. And they couldn't be bothered to show up for my surgery. Emma Richardson? Dr. Patricia Patterson appeared, already in her surgical scrubs. She was a renowned gynecological surgeon, someone I'd helped years ago when Nationwide tried to deny coverage for one of her patients' complex procedures. I'd personally overridden the denial. Dr. Patterson, thank you for fitting me in. Of course. She sat down beside me. I reviewed your imaging again this morning. Emma, this cyst is significant. The characteristics are concerning. I may need to remove the entire ovary if there's extensive damage or if the biopsy shows anything suspicious. I understand. Is your family here? They're at my brother's golf tournament in Phoenix. Dr. Patterson's expression hardened. A golf tournament. It's important for his amateur status, apparently. More important than your surgery for a potentially cancerous ovarian mass? According to them, this is just routine treatment. Dr. Patterson was quiet for a moment. Emma, you work in insurance, right? Do your parents know what you do specifically? They think I'm a claims adjuster. They've never asked for details. They have no idea you're the director of medical coverage for Nationwide? The same Nationwide that provides their family coverage. No. Dr. Patterson shook her head. I've been a surgeon for 20 years. I've seen a lot of family dynamics. But this is something else. She stood. Well, they may not be here, but I am. And I'm going to take excellent care of you. The surgery took 4 hours instead of the projected 2. The cyst had ruptured partially during removal, requiring extensive cleaning of the abdominal cavity. Dr. Patterson had to remove my entire right ovary due to the damage. The biopsy was sent to pathology. Results would take a few days. I woke up in recovery in significant pain, groggy from anesthesia, alone. You're doing great, Ms. Richardson, a nurse said, adjusting my medication. Dr. Patterson will be in soon. The surgery was more complicated than expected, but she got everything. You had quite a few people asking about you. Your colleagues from Nationwide have been calling for updates all afternoon. My colleagues. Not my family. Dr. Patterson came in an hour later, still in scrubs. Emma, you're awake. Good. I need to explain what happened. She pulled up images on her tablet. The cyst had already begun rupturing, which is why your pain has been so severe. If we'd waited even another week, you would have been looking at a full rupture, possible sepsis, emergency surgery. This wasn't routine, Emma. This was urgent. Did you have to remove the ovary? Yes. The damage was extensive. You still have your left ovary, so your hormones and fertility shouldn't be significantly affected, but this was serious. She paused. I'm concerned about the characteristics of the cyst tissue. The biopsy will tell us more. My stomach dropped. Cancer. Possibly. But Emma, even if it comes back benign, this was a life-threatening situation. My family said it was routine. Your family is wrong. And speaking of family, they called the nurses' station 3 times during your surgery. They did. Your mother called at hour 2 asking if you were done yet, because she wanted to know if she needed to fly back early. When told you were still in surgery, she said, for a cyst removal? That seems excessive. Is the doctor padding the procedure? I closed my eyes. Your father called at hour 3. He told the nurse he's concerned about the costs of unnecessary surgical time and wanted to know if your insurance would cover extended procedures. And Kyle. Your brother called about 20 minutes ago. He just won his tournament and wanted to know if you were awake so he could tell you about it. When the nurse said you were sedated, he asked her to let him know when Emma's feeling better, because he wanted to FaceTime and show you his trophy. I started laughing, which hurt my incision. Laughing and crying at the same time. Emma, all 3 of those calls were documented in your medical record as standard protocol. The nurses flagged them as concerning. Family members questioning medical necessity during an active surgery, implying financial burden and prioritizing personal achievements over postoperative patient welfare. That's just how they are. That doesn't make it acceptable. She pulled up something on her tablet. I looked up your family's insurance after your mother's call. Nationwide Health Insurance Premium Family Plan. Your father filed a claim for knee surgery coded as medically necessary joint repair, but I know the surgeon who did it. It was cosmetic. I know. I approved it. Dr. Patterson stared at me. You approved it? I'm the director of medical coverage at Nationwide. I've been approving their questionable claims for years. My dad's knee surgery. My brother's sports rehabilitation. My mom's migraine treatments. You've been protecting their coverage while they dismiss your medical emergency as routine? I thought if I took care of them, they'd take care of me. Oh, Emma. Dr. Patterson sat down. Do they know what you do? No. They've never asked. They're about to find out. Those calls during your surgery are part of your medical record. Medical records at this hospital are reviewed by insurance companies for quality assurance. Your case. A 4-hour emergency surgery for a ruptured ovarian cyst with possible malignancy is exactly the kind that triggers detailed review. Meaning, meaning Nationwide's quality assurance team will review the entire case file, including the family phone calls questioning medical necessity. And when they see that the patient is their own director of medical coverage, and the family members questioning the surgery are covered under a policy with multiple questionable claims, that triggers an automatic audit. I spent 2 days in the hospital. Dr. Patterson visited twice daily. My colleagues from Nationwide sent flowers and cards. My supervisor came by personally. My family sent texts with photos from Phoenix. Kyle's trophy presentation. My parents at a celebratory dinner. Not one asked how the surgery went. On my discharge day my phone rang. Rebecca Chin, the Chief Compliance Officer at Nationwide. Emma, I hope I'm not disturbing your recovery. It's fine. What's going on? Your medical case has triggered an automatic audit of all related insurance policies. When our quality team reviewed your surgical records and saw family members calling to question the medical necessity of an emergency procedure, they flagged it for investigation. I understand. When they ran the audit on the family policy covering those individuals, they found a pattern. Your father's knee surgery, coded as medically necessary but actually cosmetic. Your brother's rehabilitation, coded as sports injury treatment but actually performance enhancement. Your mother's migraine treatments, minimal medical intervention, maximum luxury services. I know. I approved all of those claims. We know. The audit found your approval signature on every questionable claim filed by your family over the past 6 years. Emma, did you approve claims you knew were fraudulent to protect your family? I was quiet. I approved claims that were borderline. I gave my family the benefit of the doubt. I used my judgment as director to interpret policy in their favor. While they abandoned you during emergency surgery. Yes. Rebecca sighed. Emma, no one is questioning your integrity. You've served brilliantly for 6 years. But this situation requires action. What kind of action? The audit team is recommending termination of your family's policy and recovery of improperly paid claims totaling approximately $180,000 over 6 years. My hands were shaking. You're terminating their coverage? The compliance team is. Not you. You're on medical leave and recused from all decisions regarding this case. But Emma, do you want us to proceed with the audit findings? I thought about my mother's text. It's just routine treatment. About my father questioning costs during my operation. About Kyle calling to brag about his trophy. Yes, I said quietly. Proceed. Are you sure? This will likely destroy your relationship with your family. Rebecca, I just had emergency surgery for a potentially cancerous ovarian mass. My family didn't come because they chose a golf tournament. They called during my surgery to complain about costs. They still haven't asked if I'm okay. What relationship is there to destroy? I'm sorry, Emma. So am I. The pathology results came back 4 days later. Borderline malignancy. Not quite cancer, but concerning enough to require close monitoring and follow-up surgeries every 6 months. We caught it early, Dr. Patterson said. But Emma, if that cyst had fully ruptured, if we'd waited even another week, we'd be having a very different conversation. My family said it was routine. Your family nearly killed you with their dismissiveness. That night my father called. The first call since before my surgery. Emma, what the hell did you do? We just got a letter from Nationwide saying our policy is being terminated for fraudulent claims. They're demanding we pay back $180,000. I didn't do anything, Dad. An audit was triggered by the medical review of my surgical case. Your surgical case? What does that have to do with our insurance? When you called during my surgery to complain about costs and question medical necessity, it was documented. Insurance companies review those records. The reviewers found a pattern of questionable claims on your policy. But you work there. You can fix this. I work there as Director of Medical Coverage. I'm the person who's been approving your borderline fraudulent claims for 6 years. I used my position to protect you. Silence. You've been, what? Your knee surgery was cosmetic, coded as medically necessary. I approved it anyway. Kyle's rehabilitation was golf training. I approved it. Mom's migraine treatments are spa days. I approved them all. Emma, we didn't know. You didn't know because you never asked what I do. You assumed I was some low-level claims processor because you've never been interested in my career. Just like you weren't interested in my surgery. That's not fair. We were at Kyle's tournament. You chose a golf tournament over my emergency surgery for a potentially cancerous ovarian mass. You called during the operation to complain about costs. Kyle called to brag about his trophy. Mom texted me pictures while I was in the ICU. None of you asked if I was okay. The surgery was supposed to be routine. It was never routine. It was major abdominal surgery, removal of an ovary, and a 4-hour operation to clean out a ruptured cyst that could have killed me. I was crying now. I could have died, Dad. And you were watching golf. Emma, please. We can't afford to pay back $180,000. This will bankrupt us. You should have thought about that before you filed fraudulent claims for 6 years. Or before you skipped my surgery for a golf game. You're really going to let them do this to your own family? You're really going to call me after 10 days without asking how my surgery went and demand I fix your insurance fraud? Is that? I'm going to let them do this. I hung up. He called back 17 times. I blocked the number. 3 months later I was back at work full-time. My follow-up surgery had shown no progression of the borderline cells. Dr. Patterson was confident with regular monitoring. My family's insurance policy had been terminated. They'd been placed on a payment plan for the $180,000. My father had to take a part-time job. Kyle had to withdraw from tournaments. My mother had to stop her treatments entirely. Rebecca stopped by my office. Emma, the board reviewed your handling of your family's claims. They found that while you gave favorable interpretations, you never approved anything outright fraudulent. You used your medical judgment appropriately. Your job is secure. Thank you, Rebecca. Your family's case has become a training example in our compliance department about how family pressure can influence medical coding. That evening I had dinner with Dr. Patterson. We'd become friends over the months. How's your recovery? She asked. Good. Clean scans. You saved my life. You saved your own life by getting treatment, even when your family said it was routine. My phone buzzed. A text from my mother. Emma, please. Your father is struggling with these payments. Can't you fix this? We're your family. I looked at the text, then deleted it without responding. They were my family. But family wasn't just biology. It was showing up. It was caring. It was being there when things got hard. My parents had skipped my surgery for a golf tournament. They'd called during the operation to complain about costs. They'd dismissed my life-threatening condition as routine treatment. I'd reviewed their family health policy on my laptop from my hospital bed. Their coverage had been flagged for audit based on their own behavior. And now they wanted me to fix it. But some consequences can't be fixed. Some relationships can't be saved. And some insurance coverage once terminated stays terminated. They chose golf over my surgery. They called my emergency routine. The insurance director they didn't know existed ensured there were consequences. And those consequences would follow them, one payment at a time.